Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Paul James here. Give me some ones in the chat box. I see Jillian said, "Is the sound on?" Hopefully, you can hear me now. Awesome. Lots of ones coming in. Great. So, hopefully, I see Charles says chilly. Okay. Yeah, you're in Canada. It's chilly here too. I'm in Wisconsin, so not that too far actually. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for stopping in today and attending. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's webinar, or if you didn't get a chance to attend it, hopefully you got a chance to check out the replay. Last week we talked about Google Maps and how that whole thing intertwines with Serpinatr, and I presented last week. I've got both Joe and Anthony on the line as well, and this week Anthony is going to be presenting, and he's going to give you guys some more advanced training with Serpinatr so that you guys can tie all of that in. I don't know if you guys want to pop in and say hello.
For sure, for sure. Hey guys, it's Joe Troyer. Thanks for being on the call. We are excited for today.
Hey guys, it's Anthony. I'm ready to go whenever Paul turns over the reins.
Yeah, guys. I guess just make sure that you guys have a notepad and pen handy as always. I think that that's helpful. You know, if you're writing things down, it's going to kind of be engraved in your subconscious, and I just think you'll get more out of it. And yeah, I'm excited to see what Anthony has for us today. So take it away, Anthony.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Paul. Thanks a lot, Joe. And first of all, I want to make sure everybody can see the screen. Has a the S Serpinator snake on the screen if you can. If you can just put a 1 or an S in the chat box, that would be great. All right, cool. Thanks, Anthony, Steve, Brentnell, Collins, I think it is. Anyway, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more today about Serpinator. We want to give you guys a little time to play around with the tool, have an opportunity to go through it yourself before we just inundated you with more training on it, so you had better feel and understanding how it worked. And before I get into that, I want to again on behalf of Paul James, Joe Troy, and myself, we want to thank you once again for investing in Serpinator. We greatly do appreciate it. We know you're going to get great value out of the tool. There's really nothing else like it in the marketplace today where you're able to demonstrate an estimated value of ranking on page 1 of Google, whether it's organically or, as Paul talked about last week, in the 3-pack. There's just nothing out there. And that's usually the number one question that everyone has, whether you're a business owner, it could be your prospect, could be a client of yours. It's always a tough question to answer because you go out there with the idea, hey, I can get you ranked on page 1, can get you ranked in 3-pack. Well, what does that mean monetarily? Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody cares about, how much money they're going to make. Because otherwise, a number 1 ranking or page 1 ranking, a 3-pack ranking means absolutely nothing if you can't convert that into some type of dollars, or if you're in a different country, it could be euros, yen, etc., etc. So with that, today, just so you have an idea where we're going today, I'm not going to take too much of your time up today, but I want to talk to you and give you a demonstration of Serpinator itself, along with some advanced tactic you can use. I'm wondering how to take advantage of it to land clients, as well as we'll have time for a Q&A where you can ask anything about Serpinator, anything about local marketing, online marketing, anything you want. That's a great time to do that. So with that in mind, I'm just going to go, flip over to the tool itself right now, go through a demonstration, kind of talk about it. I know you've seen it and played around with it, but I think it'll give you, when I'm going through it myself, give you kind of a better feel and just a better understanding of the tool itself. And you'll hear some things now that I'm saying that I might not say in a training video. What might seem a little stilted, I'm just trying to show you, certain features and benefits at that point in time. So of course, all you need to do is to get started is to go ahead and log in. Hopefully there won't be any type of delay here when I'm doing this. Sometimes when we do live demonstrations on GoToWebinar, it can be a little bit slower. So if it is, I apologize in advance. So obviously I've logged in. We have 2 different tools you can use: the SEO ROI estimation tool or the keyword valuation estimation tool. The difference is that one includes any type of fees that you might charge as a local marketer for your SEO services, but also if you're an online marketer, you can also use the SEO ROI estimation tool. If you had any type of third-party SEO fees, you might rent backlinks, you might rent or buy PBNs, private blog networks. You might have other third-party fees. You might even want to account for your own time if you're doing your own SEO to get a better understanding of the return on investment you're getting for your own keywords. So don't think of it just for local marketing. It's for any marketer. Now, if you don't have any type of expenses from an SEO standpoint, that's where you use the keyword valuation estimation tool. That's the main difference between the tools. One includes for SEO fees, any type of fees and costs. The other one, the keyword valuation estimation tool, does not. That just gives you the potential value of any keyword on page 1 of Google, or conversely also in the 3-pack what the estimated value could be. So that I'm just going to give you do a demonstration of a keyword. I'm going to use Houston personal injury lawyer to put in here. Now, one thing I like to do here, if I'm going to do this for a prospect especially, is to capitalize all the words. It doesn't seem that important, but when you do the PDF report, it just looks a little more professional to me, versus you can see here, I've done it before without the caps. So if I'm doing it just for myself, that doesn't matter. Just a little, tip for you, though, if you can do it, to make it a little more professional. Now, going over the estimation tool here, of course, you have a client, a project name, put it whatever it might be. So for here, I'll just put demo for now. Serpinatr, what's nice about it, it automatically pulls in for you the average, the 12-month rolling average of search volume. So this is last 12 months on average for the Houston personal injury lawyer keyword. There's been on average about 880 monthly searches. Now, if you have other any other type of figures you want to put in there, maybe you manage an AdWords account for yourself or for a client, or you might be for a prospect and they have different data, you can certainly put it in here. If it was 1,000, we could put 1,000 in there. You can change this, so don't think you can't do that. You can go ahead and change that number. Same thing for the average cost per click. Same thing. You can go ahead and change that as well if you'd like. So just those are two numbers that you can change anytime you want if it warrants it. Now, for your client's average lifetime value per customer, this lifetime value is something you're going to ask. Typically, you're going to ask your prospect or your client. They're typically going to know. If they don't know, then you're going to want to try to get them to estimate it. I always try to get the client or the prospect to do that for you, to make them kind of own the estimation. Because otherwise, if you're just guessing yourself, it's just not going to be as accurate as it could be. And you might just have to prod them along. But what it also does when you're doing that, it starts building trust, because you're becoming the expert, trying to lead along the client or the prospect, telling them or asking them probing questions to get to this figure here. And so by doing that, you're just building trust by spending more time doing that. So it is a very valuable and useful part of your time. So I'm just going to put 50,000 in here. Now, percent of monthly clicks convert to leads. Those are simply for every 100 visitors, how many of those visitors either make a phone call, do an email submit, but primarily phone calls we're talking about here. So let's say, just for our example, we're just going to put in 20%. That could be high, it could be low, just depends. Again, that's something you're going to want to ask the prospect or client. If they're experienced, they're going to know. If they're not, they might not know. But if you start asking probing questions, to them, say, well, gee, if somebody out of every 10 visitors come to your website, do you have any idea of how many of those people pick up the phone or send you an email, submit form, or a contact form, something like that? Just something to get it and just get them to thinking. They say, oh yeah, it's about 2 out of every 10, that'd be 20%. So that's all you need to do. And again, for the next one, those leads, those phone calls and email submits, this is typically a percentage you're going to probably have a little better handle on, because these are the ones that are converting to clients, converting to customers, converting to more revenue. So just for our example, we're going to put in 25%. Again, we've already talked about the average cost per click, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, for your estimated monthly SEO fee, this is where obviously you put in your fee. If you're prospecting, I recommend that you put in something a little bit higher than you're wanting to receive, just for negotiating purposes. Otherwise, you kind of paint yourself in a corner where you can't, you can't go back and get that figure. So, say you want to earn, let's just say for this one, $4,000 a month. You're probably going to put in here like 5,000, 5,500, something that's still reasonable, but higher than you're willing to accept. Of course, if you get the higher figure, that's awesome. So another thing, way to think of it, don't sell yourself short either. Make sure, it's a fair fee. And a lot of that's going to go back to their lifetime value per customer, because here, if you look at this, the balance of how much income I can possibly earn, $5,000 per month versus the prospect here of $50,000 for one client. If I want land them just 2 clients a year, that's $100,000 on average. And with a personal injury attorney, who knows what that might actually be? That could be a 6-figure settlement, could be a 7-figure case. Who knows? So that's a pretty low figure when it comes to personal injury lawyers. But just to give you some perspective, of $5,000 a month might sound like a lot to you, but for an attorney in this type of situation, it's dirt cheap for the potential return on investment, which we're going to show you, in just a minute what it can mean here in this particular example. Now, your call to action, this is, and it's seen as use a tool. This is at the bottom of the PDF report, call to action. What next step do you want the prospect to take? And it's typically to call you to get started today. Whatever you want to put in there, but something to tell the prospect exactly what you want them to do. So once they've gone through the report, they have questions. Hey, what do you want to do? They want to call you, of course. So we'll just put in one of these here. As an example. So, now here, logo, it's optional. You don't necessarily need to put your logo in here, and because there's 2 different areas that show it. And I'm going to, for right now, I'm not going to add the logo here because it doesn't make a difference, because I'm going to show you my reports, the PDF report. And so you can put one there if you want. The thing is, though, it creates this, Serpinatr creates 2 different PDFs. The first PDF that you can create right from your SEO ROI estimation. The thing, it's great. It's a nice looking report. The thing it's lacking is some branding. So I always, if you're going to use this just for yourself, it's fine to go ahead and print it out and use it. But if you're going to use it for a prospect, I always recommend going to my reports and get the PDF report there, because you have the opportunity to put more branding on your report, such as not just your logo, but also your business name, your name, address, phone number, email. Those things you can't put on the report here, any of that personal contact information. That's why I always recommend going to my report section. So now, disclaimer, we added this in actually after the launch started, because I wanted to have a legal disclaimer area where you can put your own legal disclaimer, because as it states at the top of Serpinatr, the reports it generated, it's just an estimate. The thing is, there are a lot of variables that are going on in the calculation here. Any one of which you change is going to change the calculation, whether it's the monthly search volume, the lifetime value per customer, any of these percentages, the average CPC, your estimated fee, all those items, you change one of them, it changes the entire calculation for each of the 10 spots that we're showing here. So you want to have some type of disclaimer language. Now, we don't provide it to you because that's something for you to decide how you want to have it. You're in different jurisdictions than myself, than Joe, than Paul. So we use our own that we might want to use, but if you're not sure, you should, consider consulting your own attorney if you don't have one. You get into a business like this, you should have one. So that's why we don't provide something specifically here, but this is an area where I want to have a disclaimer, and it ends up showing up at the very bottom underneath your call to action. So it's very conspicuous there. And also, again, the title does say it's an estimate. So most people logically know it's just an estimate. That does not mean, just because you rank number 1, these are the exact figures going to hit. There's just too many variables. But what we are able to do, which nothing else before Serpinatr's been able to do, is to give an estimate, to really put some context to what it means to be ranking on page 1 of Google, what it means to rank on in the 3-pack. It finally gives an opportunity to have the conversation and take it really deeper to the next level, what it can mean. So anyway, we've gone through and did all of our adding in all of our different variables. All we need to do now is, of course, click on Estimate SEO ROI and see that quickly, which we love about Serpinatr. Just like that, it runs our calculation for us in the background very quickly. Now, I'm not going to go through every line item because I know you've had a lot of time spent with it. I talk about it in all the training, but just kind of want to go through the tool, give an example of what I do. This page here is strictly for you. You're not going to want to obviously print it out because you got the black background. Now you could, I guess, if you're have the experience where you can invert the colors here. You could print it out, I suppose, but there's really no reason to. The reason we have it here is so you can take a quick look and decide, if you want to use these numbers or if you want to change something. And the thing to really kind of focus in on when you're doing that is, your estimated ROI down here. You want to make sure, as you're getting down, especially the lower numbers, you want to have something that still makes sense. Because the last thing you want to do is have a client come down to the bottom. You've got, 1 through 5 is okay ranking, 6 through 10 are all negative ROIs, and then you're trying to explain away a negative that really isn't a negative, because you got to remember with Serpinatr, we're talking about one keyword. Now, if you're ranking multiple keywords, of course, like in Houston, for example, personal injury lawyer, that's just one keyword. There's several related keywords that are going to get similar type of results, probably even potentially higher for Houston personal injury attorney, personal injury lawyer, Houston, different ways of putting this related keyword phrases together that the monthly search volume is going to be significantly higher than that. And that's something else you can do with Serpinatr too, if you want, is to go ahead and go in. If you want to take a deeper approach, you can also go into the keyword planner, find those related keywords, and then add them up and put them in as a total for the monthly search volume. Kind of gives a totality, a whole number. And of course, what's that going to do? You're not inflating anything. You're not being deceitful. You're just showing, here's what it looks like if I ranked you for a multitude of keywords that are all related, because that's typically what we do with our businesses. We're not just ranking the one keyword. We're trying to rank several related ones as well. So maybe it's not 80, maybe it's 5,000 monthly search volume. And of course, that's going to significantly increase your figures here. So it's just something to bear in mind. Now you can see down here, it does show the legal disclaimer. As I said here, we do have to generate the PDF report here, which I'll go ahead and do just so we can go ahead and do it, and I'll show you it. Now like I said, I did not include the logo. It would have been up here, but then again, like I said, there would not have been included any of your personal branding. So besides the logo, and that's why, again, you could, if you wanted to, give the client, I suppose, if you're a prospect. And now if you're working with a client and you want to go over some things, sure, there might be a proper time or a time you can use this, and that's fine to do. I'm not saying not to use it, but I know just a few questions come up. Why do we have this versus the other? So I just wanted to point that out, that, there might be a time that it does become valuable. And again, this is where you're going to want to have your legal disclaimer. And again, that's, some language you're going to want to come up with. And, you can find all sorts of legal disclaimer language. Just do a Google search. I'm sure you can find something, but we don't want to specifically tell you, because everybody is in their own jurisdiction. You might be in a different country. We don't know the laws of the various jurisdictions, and none of us are practicing attorneys, so we can't really tell you, what to use and what not to use. So, but getting back to the demo here, what I wanted to show you is up in the reports here. Now you go to my reports, and we're going to show you the Houston demo I just did here for Houston personal injury lawyer. A couple things, of course, you can delete your report. The report URL is just a quick way to get the custom URL that's Serpinatr creates for you that you can give to a client. Now, before doing that, what you want to do is click on the publish report if you want to get their data. You want to capture some data, whether it be their email, phone number, or both. Of course, I'm going to tell you you definitely want to get the email. I mean, you want to be able to build the list, whether it's prospects or clients. You want to be able to do that, and all you need to do is press on the data capture button, and then we have the options and the fields that you can select. For demo, I'm just going to put the email in the name for now, and dialog title. Now, what happens if you've used Serpinatr, of course, when you give the custom URL to the prospect, when they go to that URL, before they're able to do so, a box like this pops up, and dialog title is going to be up here. It says publish report, and that's where you're going to want to put your title there. Claim your whatever it might be. Not a good one, but just put something down here. You want to think out something a little bit better than that, but just something, a title that it directs the attention to the to your prospect, to what's the report is about. You might want to put something like personal put the the law firm's name, claim your blah 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 law firm report, that type of thing, and just add something that's going to add context, with do an SEO valuation, your free keyword valuation report, something like that. So there's all sorts of different ways to put it together. Of course, you can test them as well to get a better idea. And then just the button, it's going to be a button where it says publish report, and put something here. Click here to claim a report now. We'll just add that. And now I could just publish the report, but before doing that, I want to customize it. To do that and get my own branding in there, we go ahead and open up that part of the box, and it allows us to go further and deeper here. So for company name, let's put, let's put that. Address. Now for your address, what I like to do, if you don't want to put your address, say you work at home or something, you don't have to put your address there, because it doesn't, in the PDF, it doesn't say address followed by your actual address. You can put in, say, your name. I like to put my name and title, for example. You can put that in the box. And then, of course, your phone number, your email address. And then here you can put like I said, the logo before. So you choose file here, and then let me grab a logo. Okay, all right, so got the logo there, and then okay, sorry about that. And then if you want to put in the header code, you can put something for retargeting or video. I'm not going to do that at this moment. I'm going to show you something in a minute, though, when I put in a video there. But we go ahead and then click Publish Report. And then what's going to do is go to the area with your custom URL that you can grab. And we can go ahead and click on Full Report View. So you can see what happens next is before they're able to, the users be able to use it, they have to enter their email and their name. So if you're giving this to a prospect, of course, you want to be able to identify that somebody's went ahead and wanted to view the report. So let me just put in email again. Oops. All right. So then the report's now open for them to view. You can see up here, we've got the logo, have my branding, which didn't show up before, and then we have all the organic listings 1 through 10. Now these rankings you can also use for the 3-pack as well. So, because like we said before, this is estimated value that you're providing. It's not; these cannot be actual numbers. It's just impossible to come up with a definitive number, but gives you a great starting point. Gets the prospects excited with the possibilities and what again to focus in on. Okay, I can't do anything. Focus in on here is, of course, the potential value of new clients per month. In our example, would be $668,000 and the annualized $8 million. Now, it sounds like a lot, but for a personal injury lawyer, that's not necessarily a lot. It might be in the context of adding this many clients, but of course, we're just using an example. But there can be many attorneys who, of course, are averaging more than $50,000 per file. So on that basis, again, changing numbers is going to change the results here. But the next line item below the potential value here is the equivalent cost of AdWords. In other words, the equivalent cost of traffic it would cost somebody to use AdWords versus you as an SEO. It's a great opportunity to tell the prospect how they can benefit and save a ton of money by using your services, assuming, of course, you can rank #1, because the equivalent cost of the number of clicks and the number of potential new clients and all that with AdWords is going to cost about $33,000. And to come up with that figure, all we're doing is taking the number of monthly clicks times the click-through rate. Ranking #1 is about 30 clicks per 100, multiplied by the average cost per click, and that's how we arrive at that number. So it's just a hard and fast number that's going to cost every click was $100 and something. I don't remember the figure that it was, like $121 or something like that. And it is up here actually, $122.91 per click. And so it's going to cost $32,000, where we're offering our services at a huge discount, so to speak, because we're only charging or looking to charge $5,000. So it's a great argument, an opportunity to show prospects that to use you is much more cost effective, and you're able to provide them with a significantly higher return on their investment by using you. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the ROI they can get with AdWords, but it just shows you how much more expensive AdWords can be. And another thing with AdWords too is only about, out of every 100 clicks, about 10% or so go towards AdWords. The other 90 are hitting anywhere else on the page, whether it's in the 3-pack or the organic. So, most people have, what we call the banner blindness, the AdWords banner blindness. People, whatever reason, the brain's thinking it knows those look kind of spammy, maybe because it just says ads, whatever it is. Even the uninformed know that those are ads for whatever reason. So, it's just a great argument to make, and that's what another benefit of having Serpinator, to be able to draw out all these figures for the prospect. And like I said before, what you can also do with it, if you want, is to combine multiple keywords, and then you can show a package. Say you're offering a package of 10 keywords for X amount, $5,000, and you can show them, collectively, you put all those together. You can then make assumptions, and of course, you're always using it under the basis of you're providing an estimate here. You're not providing actual figures, because like I said, there's just too many variables here. It's just a great talking point, breaks the ice, and it really separates you as well from your competitors, because I can virtually guarantee you that the only others that are out there in the world who are going to be using this tool as a sales tool are going to be those who are on this call, those who watch the replay, those who invested in Serpinator, and only a certain percentage, unfortunately, will actually even go through that process. But by you being here today, you can see the potential and the value of Serpinator, and being able to open up a dialogue that you just weren't able to do before, which made it very difficult, quite honestly, to sell SEO, because you're selling a ranking. A lot of people are selling a ranking. Well, you're not just selling a ranking anymore. You're selling the potential. You're also selling, the idea of, if you're not ranking on page 1 of Google, somebody else is, and it's your competitors. And these are the types of numbers your competitors might be getting instead of you. And that's where some ego can really come into play when it comes to your prospects and your clients. So it's very powerful on that basis. So let me go ahead and close that for a minute. And so we're able to publish a report. Of course, you get the report custom URL from here. And then my lead section, all I want to show you here is, I put in an email and my name, and it has a lead here. You can export your leads as a CSV file, so you can have those and add to your autoresponder or whatever you might want to do with them. The other thing to point out is you also do receive at your email that you, whatever email you use to invest in Serpinator, that email is going to receive notifications once somebody goes ahead and inputs their information, whatever you're required to see the report. That's going to be sent to you in your email. So you're not only going to be alerted by coming here looking at Serpinator, but also in your email inbox. So you might see something there to trigger you to look at Serpinator and see the leads and get more information. And then you can actually go back, of course, and go to the actual report and see what report it is to jog your memory and all that. And so you're able to then make contact. It allows you to make a timely contact with a hot prospect. Somebody's just looked at their report that's triggering you to take the next step to email them, or hopefully pick up the phone and call them. If you're, I don't want to say brave enough, because you should be at that point. You got a hot lead. Somebody's just looked at it, and you've got a notification telling you so. You should really take that next step, as soon as possible, because there's obviously interest in what you're showing them, and then you can take it to the next level. So Just the other thing to point out, of course, we've got our training area here. I'm not going to go over anything in here except to say, if you're still looking, we still have the upgrade offers available. You can click on either of those for more information. And of course, we have our training below that. So it's kind of, in a nutshell. And then we've got, of course, I'm not sure why I got it doubled here now, but we've got, and these are just the same one twice. I'm not sure how we got that there. We'll get rid of two of them. These resources here, I'll just open up one, the SEO ROI estimation, gives you directions for each input box for either the SEO ROI estimation tool. Each box tells you a direction or comment, so you're not sure, what it is. Use this checklist to go ahead and go through it. So, if you're more of a reader versus visually watching the video training, you can grab this too as you're going through it. And I can guarantee you use Serpinator just a couple times. You get the hang of it real quickly. It's not a difficult tool to use at all. And now I'm not going to go through the keyword tool here because it's virtually the same thing. The only difference is, as I said, is the you don't include any SEO expenses or costs, and so those figures in percentages are all backed out of the calculation. So, but what it does in the end is just give you a valuation of the what the value of any keyword is on page 1 of Google. So let me get back in here now. So let me pop back to here for just a second, back to the presentation here, the slideshow, and I just want to check one thing quickly. Okay. Let's see here. That's that page you're supposed to be on. Let me get back here. Whoops. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so just did a live demo. Now, what I want to show you real quickly here, it's not going to take a lot of time, but it's something you can use Serpinator to do, to use an advanced tactic, so to speak, or method, strategy, whatever you want to call it with Serpinator, to even separate yourself further. Because, like I said, with Serpinator, as I've mentioned, you finally have the opportunity to answer the number one question on every business owner and decision maker's mind, which is, how much money can I make ranking on page 1 of Google, or how much money can I make ranking in Google Maps local search results, that is also known as the 3-pack. So those are questions that are always going through, whether they're actually asked of you or not. And before, you weren't really, you're really taking a serious stab in the dark. You could do it, but then you're doing manually. I had a spreadsheet I was using, an Excel spreadsheet, and to throw that out at a prospect, unless they're a finance major or somebody that's pretty advanced, it can be mind-boggling. It just opens up a potential can of worms, a lot of questions that you don't necessarily want or need, because then it gets you off the real task at hand and what you're looking to do is land clients. Because at the end of the day, the only thing they care about is answering this question: how much money can they make ranking in Google Maps, in the 3-pack, and or in the organic rankings. And of course, with Serpinator, allows you to answer these exact questions. Now, what you're providing them was an estimate, both for the potential value of any keyword ranking on page 1 of Google or in the 3-pack, and estimating your prospects' potential return on investment when using your SEO services to rank them either in Google's organic rankings or inside the 3-pack. So it allows you to peg your SEO services to an ROI estimation, and it really can drive home for you, and the tool can do it for itself. So you don't have to say nearly as many words. I mean, this is where prospects get excited. They understand those figures. They understand the numbers, and pointing them to them, just the potential. You can show them that you, with your services, by ranking them on page 1, that's the potential they have. Where before, is page 1 ranking sounds great, but we couldn't really go any further with that without getting into Excel spreadsheets, doing all sorts of complicated stuff to have them have better understanding. So unless they're really experienced and understood SEO, or really had the numbers down, and if they already had the numbers down, they were probably ranking on page 1 and didn't need your services. So Now, with Serpinator, you got a competitive and psychological advantage too. With Serpinator on your side, you now have a massive competitive advantage over your competitors because your competitors pretty much don't have this. Now, of course, we sold the tool to some folks recently, but I'm telling you, it's just a micro percentage. It's a point something percentage of all the local marketers. So if there's any saturation questions out there, answer is absolutely no. There's zero apps, absolutely zero saturation with this tool. If there was, uh, Paul, Joe, and myself wouldn't have released it. We know, that it's going to be used by some, and unfortunately, others are going to invest in it, take a look at it, play around with it, think it's great, and that's all they'll do with it, which is unfortunate because it is a massive competitive advantage because you're doing something, you're separating yourself from your competitors. Most of your competitors are all doing the same thing, probably the same things you were doing before, sending an email, hi, my name's Anthony. I'm a digital marketer. I can get you ranked on page one when you want to have a phone call. Not very inspiring, right? Now you're showing them numbers, showing what by you providing them with your services, what the potential is, what is possible. That's just something that was not out there before a Serpinator. Now you also have a huge psychological tool you can use to your advantage to land 3-pack and SEO clients too, because Serpinator gives you the mother of all pain points to press when your prospects are not ranking. You can say to them, if you're not ranking in the 3-pack or you're not ranking on page one for your keywords, your competitors are. And they know exactly what that means, especially when they're looking at one of the reports, because those reports are detailing the potential of ranking, whether 1 through 10. And most businesses, the guys, the decision makers, the owners, they know who they're the ones, a lot of times, the only ones clicking on their sites because they can't figure out why they're not on page one yet, or they're not in the 3-pack. And so they know that if they're not getting, their competitors are. So without you telling them so, you're showing them what their competition might be doing. That there's nothing that gets more under the skin of a business owner or decision maker of knowing what's their competition's doing, what they're missing out on. So talking about the mother of all pain points, you're telling them that their competitors are generating virtually all the online traffic, leads, sales, revenues, and net income, and not you and your business. In other words, not your prospect at that time. So you're pressing a huge pain point for them, and you don't even have to say anything. They understand if they're not ranking, somebody else is ranking, and most likely banking, ranking in those page one rankings or the 3-pack. So it's just a huge pain point that you really don't have to do much or say much. They understand. But if they don't understand, you can just, go ahead. Like I said, hey, if you're not ranking in the 3-pack or on page one of key, for your keywords, obviously, if you're not ranking, somebody else is. And who else is that somebody? It's typically their competitors. Now, of course, there's sometimes there'll be other directories, sites, and other things like that. We're not talking about those type of sites. We're talking about competition. If you really want to press that pain point even further, if you want to press that button on them, start naming names, start naming competitors. And that will really get their attention because they know you've done your homework. Number one, you're separating yourself out even further, but you're also pressing on the pain point and, probably their ego a little bit too, and not stroking their ego in the right way, so to speak, but in a way you can get them excited about and get them understanding, hey, not only can I beat my competitor, here's potentially what it can mean for me and my business by ranking in the 3-pack or ranking on page one of Google for whatever keywords you're looking at. So now, do you think this fact might just get a little bit under the skin of your prospects and your clients? Actually, of course it would, and it does, which is exactly why you tell them just that. Whether you're going to tell them on a telephone, perhaps an email, a video, a webinar, or other medium, the ego generally takes over at this stage because a vast majority of business owners and decision makers do not like their competitors beating them, period. End of story. They don't like that, and that's where it can really get them going. And when you've got your prospect also involved looking at your report, you're getting them excited. They're getting invested in the report, especially when you're asking them, the probing questions. Hey, what percentage of leads convert to clients? Things like that. You're really separating yourself from a vast majority. You're going to be unlike anybody else they talk to. I can almost guarantee you that. And I can't guarantee it 100% because I just don't know, but just from a matter of course, knowing, what I'm up against any competition, I say it's no competition at all. And I think that's what you're going to run into. You just separate yourself, and you finally have been able to identify, the big answer to the big number one question. So now I'm going to show you how to use Serpinator to push the pain button. Um, it's real simple, but all you need to do is use the following. You can use Serpinator. You already have it, so I just put check. And I probably could put a check mark there. Now you can also, what you're going to want to do, and it's kind of this, call this tactic, strategy, or method, whatever you want to call it, with Serpinator. You have Serpinator, a video, you can create your own. We also have one video you can use too as an upgrade number one. We have some done for you materials. You can create a video from what we provided you there with. It's something that I use in my business. Also email, you can create your own email sequences, or upgrade number one includes done for you emails as well. You don't need them, you can use your own like I said, but if you want the quick method, we do offer those. Again, the upgrades, I'm not telling you to go there now or anything, but they're in the training area. You can find the sales pages, sales page there. It's upgrade number one. And then only other ingredient you need here is prospects. Now, if you're looking, all you need to do is enter the keyword phrase in Google, then use the following results. Now for organic, your prospects are going to be those who are on page 2 and beyond. You don't want to, and sometimes you do want to use those on page 1. I'm not saying always not to, but for organically, typically page 2 and beyond. Now beyond how many pages, it's going to depend how big the market is. There's never a right answer to that. If you're in New York, personal injury lawyer, that's going to be significantly bigger than, let's say, Smithtown, New York, which I don't even know if it's really a town, which with a population of 30,000, you're not just going to go back as many pages. There aren't going to be as many businesses or prospects there to find. Now, for the 3-pack, all you need to do is find those businesses not ranked in the 3-pack. They can be anywhere from 4 to, however many there are. Those are your prospects using this strategy. So it's very simple to use. There's a ton of them there to find. So that's who you want to use. Now, with just those 4 ingredients, you now have your very own red hot prospecting method that only a handful of local marketers in the world have, and that's only those on today's call and watching the replay. This isn't included in Serpinator anywhere. This is something we're providing you separately from that. So, it's the benefit of jumping on the call today to learn this strategy. And it's going to allow you, I'm going to show you it too, so don't worry about it. I have to just tell you 4 things and have you run off. So to stand out, all you need what you're going to do is stand out with your new red hot prospect method. You will stand out heads and shoulders above your competitors, as your prospects very most likely will have never ever seen or heard anyone tell them how much money they can potentially make ranking on page 1 of Google and or in the 3-pack. And that is until you are able to finally show them the money. And so before we go to questions, I want to show you a demo of what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go back. Like I said, you've already got Serpinator. So what you're going to do, of course, is you're going to use Serpinator. You're going to, with a prospect, you're going to find a prospect, and then you're going to use the keyword, whatever keyword, and start emailing those prospects with the Serpinator report. So the nice thing about it too is you can create one general report like we did for Houston personal injury lawyer. You got that custom link. You can send that to more than one prospect. You don't have to keep on making them. You can send it out to multiple businesses. So it's not a link that's custom or personalized to that specific prospect. You can send it out. So you don't have to go out and, if you got 100 prospects, create 100 of these. You don't have to do that. Just one will work for that keyword, just so you know. So don't think you have to spend all that time going over and over again. It's not necessary. Of course, you could if you wanted to for some reason, wanted to customize a little bit more. But we're just talking in general terms to get the discussion started with prospects who we've not talked to before. Because at that point, you're putting in your own assumptions. Now, the video, like I said, you can create your own. We have the upgrade. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then email sequences. All you're going to do is email you're going to email Serpinator, the PDF report, just the custom link is all you're going to be emailing to the prospects, okay? And so when I'm talking about with video, what you're going to be doing is, if I go back to my reports, I'm going to grab the demo here again for Houston. And what I'm going to do now is go down to the header code area, which I didn't put a video in before. You can put retargeting. You can do retargeting. Anything you can add code to, you can put here. Now, logically, retargeting works. A YouTube video works. And let me grab code. Which ones? Let me go up here. I thought I had code, but I don't think I do now. I had it at one point. And, whoops, ran off doing something else. Of course, YouTube's slow right now. Come on, YouTube. I know it's slow earlier today too, so I apologize. Oh, and I did that, of course. Let's try it again. Go down here. I don't know what YouTube's deal is today. Sorry, guys. Let me. Okay, here we go. Cool. All right, so go to my channel and then grab. That's what I think I've got. It's not what I wanted to do. It's always better when you've done it beforehand. Grabbed it. These aren't any of the videos I wanted necessarily, but I'm just going to grab my demo video because it really doesn't matter here. All right, so we got the demo video here, and all you need to do is come down and grab the embed code, which you come down here, click share, and then click on embed, and then you're going to grab the code here. And, just copy the code, and then you want to go back over to Serpinatr, back into the header code, and you can put it in the footer too. You can put it top or the bottom. I prefer the top just because it's the first thing you're going to see versus scrolling down to the bottom. So I like to have videos at the top. So we got the header code, and you just paste it in there. Nothing else you need to do, and then you just click on Publish Report, and then you can either if you're with a prospect, you're obviously going to copy this link and put it into your email, and this is the link you're going to keep on sending over and over again. Now, like I said before, just for general, if you just want to send one out generally to, say, I want to send out to 100 personal injury lawyers, I might change up, how I wrote Houston demo. I probably would have put something, more, PI attorney, keyword values or something else in there, not Houston demo, just something that gets them a little bit more excited. And of course, if you're going to do it just with a specific prospect, then at that point you're going to want to put in their name to really personalize it, and what that does, of course, before they've clicked on it, is it builds suspense and intrigue, and curious minds want to know what that is because it's their own name or business name. They're more incentivized to click on it. So just wanted to point that out. Just in this example, though, I've got something real dull. I wouldn't typically use that as my point. So what I can do, if I were to give it to somebody, they would come over and click and they paste it in, and then it's going to ask me, of course, before I have to claim the report, I've got to go ahead and put an email in here. So let's go ahead and do that. And my name again, and boom, you've got your video here. Now with the video, what you can do, you can put anything you want in here in video, but what I recommend you use for video is one of two to start with. And of course, there's other ways you can do this too, but one of two. One of the ways, of course, said we've got the upgrade number one, which talks about not can you afford, the question is at the beginning, it says, can you afford not to rank on page 1 of Google? And what it does is really put in the minds of the head of the watcher. And it's only, when I record, it's 25 minutes long. It's quote unquote like an auto webinar. It's a webinar, a live training, but can be played over and over again. And it's under a half hour. Intentionally, it's that because you don't want to have something that goes on and on like a training webinar like we have now for a prospect. They're just not gonna, they're gonna tune out. So you got to keep it moving quickly. And I do in that. It's like 105, 106 pages, but it's very quick. It's very, at least I like to think, very interesting. It's something that's going to capture the attention of prospects, because it's going to show them, hey, it kind of goes through the process of here's what you need to do to figure out, hey, if I don't rank on page 1 of Google, I might not make any money. But if I'm not making money, who is making money? And it just goes through that process of really pressing on the pain point throughout the whole video. And so that's a great one. Another one that I suggest is to use this space up here to really personalize this report further and talk about, here's what this is, here's what it can do for you, and just hit on a couple high points. You don't want to go through and and a monotone voice and talk about each and every line item, but just talk to them, personalize it, talk to your prospect, talk to your client, whoever the case may be as you're talking to, and tell them, hey, with this report, what we're doing is we're estimating what the estimated return on investment when you use my SEO services, ranking number one for Houston personal injury lawyer on page 1 of Google, number one potentially could be worth $668,000 to you, or monthly profit even after my meager $5,000 per month fee, $663,000. And of course you want to expound upon its estimation and all that good stuff. And you can just tell them it's an estimate, but what you'd like to do is offer them a free keyword valuation. If you watch the video I have in the upgrade, that's why I talk about giving them a free valuation, because then you can really tighten these numbers up with their own percentages, with their own figures. Because when you're doing this in a general sense, you're trying to talk to an audience of many to try to land that one client in that market for that specific niche. So you got to generalize a little bit more and come up with the percentages and figures that you think make sense for that market. And with that, you're then able to really separate yourself once again and personalizing what all this can mean to the prospect or client, even a client, if you're looking to get more business, maybe do logo work for them. Maybe you haven't done SEO type of work for them, whether in the 3-pack or or organically. It allows you to have that conversation with them. And with the video up here at the top, it really just helps to explain it further, and you can really hammer home what all this means and just hit a couple of the high points, so they're not just looking at the report and just they see numbers and they just are totally glazed over and don't understand, because you will have some folks just like that. So that's just another approach you can take. But using video, as you know, video is a very important medium online. People like to watch video when they're learning. Some people prefer reading the text, and so it really combines both. And it takes the report and personalizes it to can personalize it to the prospect, or at least put context if it's general. If you're reaching out to many, you can still personalize that video to the extent of the keyword itself. And what that allows you to do is just do something that I haven't seen other marketers do before. And so it really separates you versus doing the same old that everybody else is doing. This gets attention. And of course, when you work specifically with prospects themselves, you can personalize this even further, because you can have their logo on the front here, their name, whatever you want to really, personalize it to them. And that's what I would do with myself if I had a prospect I was sending this to a specific prospect. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show you that because it's an advanced tactic you can use with Serpinatr, as opposed to just printing out or giving them the the custom URL, which is awesome to use, don't get me wrong, and that which would start from here down. And this is great information, but what it does is allow you to take it one step further, include a video, even if you're just talking to them, spending a minute or two explaining, here's what the benefit of Serpinatr is showing you, the estimate, and what it can mean to you to rank on page 1 of Google or in the 3-pack. And alternatively, if you're not ranking and banking with this is potentially what your competitors could be doing, and thought you'd be interested in knowing that type of intel. And you can sell it as a process of, if you're not ranking, your client or your your competitors are, and your competitors are the ones that potentially are raking in this kind of money, and you're not. And that really gets inspires many businesses, many business owners, many decision makers to take action, to call you to learn more about it. And the best way, as I said before, is with prospecting, is to send this out initially, get it, once you get a prospect contacting you, whether it's email or phone number or a phone call, at that point, then you can even personalize it further by taking and spending time with them, just a few minutes, to go over their own keyword valuation, their own SEO ROI estimation, and trying to use their figures, their percentages, because you can then, tighten it down even further and get a real, number or a real estimate it's going to be even a more a targeted estimate for them. Now, the one thing I warn you of doing that, you better make sure you have a good understanding where they might be coming from, because the last thing you want to do is talk to a prospect and then they give you some numbers that are completely different than you thought, and all of a sudden they're coming back and they don't work. And if that's the case, either you're dealing with a niche that you might not understand, or it's something where you can't charge as much as you'd like to. For example, you can't charge $5,000 a month for a mom and pop liquor store or a mom and pop restaurant, things like that. It just doesn't work like a pizza parlor, for example. You just can't charge that. You can't get enough business for them monthly to justify your fees for the most part. I'm not saying it's impossible, very difficult. So at that point, you're going to want to make sure what you want to potentially earn makes sense to what is going to be their reality. And typically, if you look at the high the businesses with a higher lifetime client value, professionals are where I like to spend my time working with clients and prospects. So attorneys, CPAs, physicians, dentists, oral surgeons, those types of folks. That's where you can command, the higher fees than you can. And there's nothing wrong with other places, other niches. Just depends what you're doing. Now, that's when you're doing SEO. If you're doing lead generation, it can be totally different. When you're selling leads or something like that, emergency services are a great place to be. So I don't want you to be confused with those two. Those are two entirely different ways of selling your services. So, but when it comes to this, I like to take the path of least resistance, where I can make the most money with the least amount of work. And so that's typically being able to charge more with, those businesses that have a higher client value, lifetime value versus lower one. So let me get back over here, and I'm going to grab a drink real quick too. Like I said, all you need to do that is you have Serpinatr, you have the video at the top, and then once you have your video installed or inserted into the header code, embedded on your PDF report, all you need to do is grab your prospects from Google, and I guess I can go ahead and just real quick, I'm sure everybody knows how to do that, but just in case, we would just go over to Google, and let's say we're going to do, what I could do, just go to Chrome. Let me open this up. Open a new incognito window, and all right, so let's do Houston personal injury lawyer. That was what I used before, so we're just going to throw that in here. And of course, for the 3-pack, we don't necessarily want to talk to Michael Fleming, Stuart Gus, or Terry Bryant, accident injury lawyers or law. I'm going to click on more places here, and anywhere from Arnold and Inkin down are your potential prospects. So you got 4 through however many here. Whoop, sorry about that. So you've got all these prospects you can look to grab here. I just want to see, there's going to be a ton here. I'm sure it's Houston. So you've got at least 8 pages times 20 or 25. I can't remember how many are here now because they've changed it before, but there are a ton of potential clients just waiting here, a ton of prospects. So the other thing I like to do when I'm looking at the 3-pack and vice versa in organic, I think they're a little hotter from the standpoint of if they're not ranked on either. So they're not ranked in the 3-pack, which is pretty easy to see, and then they're not also on page 1 of Google. So like that number 4, I don't know. Let's see if they're ranked. I can't remember their name, Icknick or something like that. Yeah, they're ranked. So I'd probably avoid them just because they're already ranked in page 1. Just gives me I see a better opportunity to sell them on both services. Not only that, but clearly they're on page 1. They probably already have an SEO. Not saying they're happy being ranked where they're at, because you can still show them, demonstrate they're ranked number 7. They can make a heck of a lot more money, ranking number 1 versus number 7. Because if we go back to, did I read the report? Yeah, let's see, did I? Yeah, okay. So for number 1, I can tell them, hey, Based on our estimates, can make $668,000 per month new business with my service, my SEO services, versus number 7, 668 versus 61. A huge difference. But psychologically, those ranked on page 1 think they've done something great being page 1. This shows you the disparity, though, of what it could mean. So there's still a huge opportunity there. That's not I'm trying to tell you not to do it. It could be standpoint where they've been there, and I don't know. They could have been there for a year, ranked, and they're frustrated. They are looking to move on. So that could be the case. But just if you're doing down and dirty, doing prospecting quickly, you don't want to dig further and look at other keywords and all that for a specific prospect, which I wouldn't be married to any prospect at that point. Down and dirty, I would just look for those who are not on page 1 for either one. It's really easy to do here, of course, because all I got to do is make sure these 3 aren't, you're going to eliminate them and then go 4 through 10. And most of them aren't going to be. I typically find if they're not ranked in the 3-pack, most likely they're not here. Sometimes it's not the case though. So just a little food for thought there. So like I said, you're going to grab those that are ranked 4 and beyond, as long as they're not on page 1 of Google. And then after that, page 2 and beyond, you're going to be able to go several pages deep in Houston. And all these guys are your potential clients. They're leads that you can send Serpinatr to, so you can open this up. Now, one other thing you can do when it comes to attorneys, I've never heard anybody say this, not saying I'm the only one that does it, but if you're looking for attorneys, they're usually, I find them to be the easiest to find emails for. And there's a reason why for that. I'm just going to go over to, let me go to, just because I'm a little more familiar with it, Savannah personal injury. Okay, so it doesn't matter what it is. I just want to show you an example. So we got Savannah personal injury lawyer. What you can do with lawyers, why it's great. Another reason it's a great niche to be in is because you can quickly find their emails. And I'm not going to saying you can find them on their website, but so Eichholz here, I know the guy's name's David Eichholz. Now he might have his email here. That's not the point. I'm not going to look for it. What we can do though is take David, let's just take his last name. So we're going to take that. And when it comes to attorneys, what you can do is go back to Google, in whatever state you're in, go to Georgia. They're in Georgia, so Georgia State Bar Directory, or it might be Members Directory. You look that up, and you can go to and quickly find emails for these guys. And so I just go that, and I don't know if I'll put a D in there. I don't think you need anything else. And I got David Sidney Eichholz, and boom, there's David's email right there. And you can do that virtually for any state. And that's what I love about attorneys. Candidly, sometimes it's difficult to find other niches to quickly find emails. This is how I do it when it comes to finding lawyers. And I think I've told one training group one other time before. So kind of a little email tip for you there. It's one of the quickest and easiest ways to do it. Probably shouldn't do it because this is a niche I spend a lot of time in, but thought it'd be helpful for you guys to know that. So it's pretty cool. Sometimes you can find it on their site, but I don't like to screw around with that because then you're digging deep. If you're spending time, and I was looking for Houston personal injury lawyers, I'm just flipping back and forth, finding the site, finding the name, and then flipping back over to their directory, putting that name in, getting their email, just back and forth. So I can get the emails real quick, just like that. And so it's kind of a benefit. And I'm sure there's other associations that have directories like that, but that's just one niche I work on so I know that's what works quickly for me. So I wanted to point that out. Wasn't anything I meant to say, but you got it anyway. So all right, so that's just to show you how to prospect real quickly with that. So it's very simple, nothing deep, nothing heavy, anything like that. Of course, you can go deeper, with prospecting. If you want to make sure they spend money, you can always look at yp.com, see if they have any Yellow Pages ads, see if they're doing AdWords, type of thing. You can either look in the ads or go to something called spyfu.com, spyfu.com. You enter their email. You can see if they have AdWords, how much your estimated spending per month if you're looking for potential clients that spend a ton of money. But those are competitive markets that are not necessarily on page one, but are still ranked highly, page two, page three, um, page four. I've seen clients I've worked with that before working with me, they're on page 15. I know Atlanta Law Firm, they're on page 15 to 20. And they were working with somebody for over a year. That's as far as I could get. So you can dig pretty deep sometimes. So I just want to point that out to you. And that's really all I wanted to share with you today with Serpinator, because I don't want to overwhelm you, but take advantage of using that header code, the footer code video, especially because the video gets attention. Personalize the video. It gives you gives some even more attention. It really gets the prospect excited, and it just separates you from everybody else. There's nothing else out there like I've seen. It's been able to do it, and it's a tool that we created for ourselves, but wanted to share, of course, with you guys who invested in it. Just want to share with you a little bit further how you can use it to your advantage. And I'm sure you'll come up with your own ways as well. That's just one. That's not the only way. There's many ways you can skin a cat or twist this around to make it work for you. So with that, I want to grab a drink here and then see if you have any questions. And don't, whoops, let me get rid of this thing. That's, by the way, is the upgrade number one, the PowerPoint presentation that you can use. So I had that up earlier. So let me grab a drink here, and then I was also gonna open this up here and see if there's questions. Let's see. Patricia wrote, your training is excellent. Many thanks. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that very much. Can we white label this so it's not Serpinatr.com? Corey asked the question. Right now, if you're referring going to Serpinatr.com, that's all we have it as. We haven't talked, we being Joe and Paul, about white labeling it to that extent. If you wanted somebody else to use it, I guess you're thinking. The reports themselves are all white labeled. Of course, the custom URL isn't. Now, if you want to take your custom URL, you don't want to send it out as Serpinatr.com. What you can do is use like WordPress. You can use any something like Pretty Links to redirect to your custom report. You don't have to use Serpinatr.com/Houston demo in our example. You can use Pretty Links or any other redirection type of software to do that. So, but we haven't talked about any type of white label or anything like that right now. Bud asked the same question. Yeah, to hide the URL, like I said, use a redirect. Let me show you, just to give an example here. I'm not sure, just in case people aren't sure what I'm referring to. Let's see. So let me grab, whoops. I think this is it. Yeah. Let me grab our URL. Let me do this before I do that. Let me go over to Serpinatr. I'm going to do the same thing. Oops. All right. Let me grab that and then go to try this. It's just one of my sites here. So Pretty Links right here. Pretty Link, it's a plugin that you can get install on any WordPress site. So you just go to you add new and find Pretty Links, and I'll see what the name of it's called. I'm sure most of you might know about this, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating something you already know about. Pretty Link Lite, it doesn't cost you any money, no investment charge, so you can grab it for no cost. Just do a search up here, or excuse me, add new and hit the search box. And put in Pretty Link, you're going to find the light version. There's two versions. You don't need the other version. I've never used for the paid version. And then all you need to do is add a new link. So you go over here, you want to put permanent for redirection type, and then target URL. That's the URL I just grabbed. So let me grab that. And then Pretty Link's gonna, whatever you want to change it to. So let's just say I had ABC law firm or something. It doesn't matter, for example. But then it's going to be your own site's name and then whatever you want to have in the back here. So let me see, and just put test This is just, the title's just for your own benefit. Nobody else sees that. Then I put forwarding, I put enabled. I click on that. For something like this, you probably want to click no follow. You don't want to do follow links for this, so you can click no follow. Sometimes you don't want to click that if you're just like an affiliate link or something like that. You don't want to do that. But for something personal like this, you're going to want to. And then you just click create. And then you've got your link over here. Copy that. And then I can open it up, paste it. And then that's what I would give my prospect. I give them that link. And then I opened it. What it does is redirect to Serpinatr, but most people aren't going to see that. So that's how you can hide it. And so when you're sending an email form, of course, they're getting edigitalwave.com/ABC law firm. And then they're clicking on, they're hitting return or enter or whatever, and then they're on to the report. Most likely, most people aren't looking up here. So that's one way to cloak it, disguise it, whatever you want to call it. So that's one method to do that. Let me see here. All right. Glenn asked if there will be a replay. Yes, there will be a replay. This is being recorded. Lisa asks, is the sales process different when trying to sell lead gen instead of ranking their assets? Lisa, yes, there is. You're selling lead gen. You're selling leads. You own the digital assets yourself. You're ranking your own assets, or you're buying the leads perhaps and then turn around and selling them for a higher amount. So lead gen and ranking their assets are significantly different in that regard. Let's see. What if they are not using AdWords? Asked Anthony. I'm not sure you're in context to what. If they're not using AdWords, that doesn't matter. That's just for those that are using AdWords, you can use that particular information to say, you're using AdWords because it costs you this much to in traffic. For this equivalent traffic, we're only charging you $5,000 for. In the case we had, it was $32,000 with the Houston case. So if they are using AdWords, you can use it to your advantage. If they aren't using AdWords, you can still use it to advantage, because you can either just totally ignore it and not talk about it, or you can say, if you were using Google's AdWords and showing what AdWords are, it would cost you, in our case, 6.5 times more for the same traffic. You can use it to your advantage either way. So whether they're using AdWords or not, it's really irrelevant, because you're just able to use that information to your benefit in both scenarios. Jared, yes, there will be a replay. Anthony asked, do we have a video we can use done for you, or do we need to make our own? What we have for you, Anthony, is, and for everybody else who's interested, is a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation that's done, except for the extent of putting your own logo in and your own contact information, your name, your website, anything else you want to put that's personalized to your phone number, email. And then that allows you to also record it in your own voice, just reading it over. I also provide an example of the exact video that I use when I use that same presentation. So you basically have the script to go ahead and just read it, just because it's going to sound much better in your own voice than my voice or somebody else's. So that's why we did it that way. But we provide also, in addition to the video, we also provide, I think it's a 5 email sequence series that you can send along with that as a prospecting tool. So we've got the 5 emails already written for you as well that tie into that specific video that you'll be preparing. Yes, replay, Norma. Let's see here. How much are the upgrades? Jillian, you can go to the training page. It shows you, I think the upgrade one is $67. Upgrade 2 is $97, I believe. So you can check on the sales pages there. Let's see here. Yes, somebody asked if you can use Bitly. I was showing you pretty links. You can certainly use Bitly. Charles asked, "Do I have an outsourcer that I use to fulfill the SEO services?" What you can do, Charles, for that is go to what is it? Source Sourcewave Market that Alex Becker has put together. There are a ton of folks that do SEO, that anything under the sun you can imagine that you need. And if you're doing local is so much significantly easier to rank local terms than it is affiliate terms. Generally much less competitive. Now, having said that, of course, it can be competitive in some markets depending on the niche that you're talking about. But generally speaking, you can find anything you need and want and ever desire over at Source Market, and you can also look at it. And the way I would do it is go in and find those that have the best ratings, and it's set up in a way that they really favor those with higher ratings than those that don't have the ratings or have low ratings. So the services you're buying, at least you have you're not going in blindly. You have some reviews that you can use, and I think that's probably the best marketplace you're going to find SEO services. There are some other places you can go to, kind of agencies that offer them, and it really depends on if it's low competition type of stuff. You just don't want to do the SEO work yourself, which is fine. You should work on your business, not in it, right? You can use some of those bigger agencies. I just get a little leery because a lot of times bigger agencies, just because they're big, doesn't mean they're good. Typically what is you're probably going to know more than a lot of the people that work at the agencies. Believe it or not, you know a lot, even if you're not aware that you know a lot, unless you're just starting out new. So you just got to be wary. That's why I prefer going to the Sourcewave Marketplace. It's just you're going to get folks that are really in tune to this. They're people like you and I who are working in this business or trying to, and so really you're just not going to find anything else that I'm aware of out there that's quite like that. Okay, sounds great, Corey. You're welcome. Let's see. How long does it usually? Kyle asks for the 3-pack. How long does it, on average, for you to rank in the 3-pack for lawyers? And do you have outsourcers we could use to get a client ranked in the 3-pack? The outsourcers I just answered. You can, like I said before, use a Source Market. Now, from a standpoint of on average to rank 3-pack in the 3-pack for lawyers, it's going to vary and depend upon the location of the law firm, the competition. It varies wildly. It's really hard to generalize. I can tell you that the quickest I've been able to rank has been under a week in the 3-pack. It just depends. And I'm trying to think, the longest has been about 4 months, and that was a pretty competitive market. So it just depends where they're at and how far along they are. If they're in the 4th position, trying to get them from 4 to 3 might not take a lot to do that. And if you're either if you're savvy doing the 3-pack or you've got an outsourcer who knows what they're doing, going from 4 to 3 might not take much effort at all. It might take a PBN link, might take a couple citations, just depends. So it's hard to tell, but it could be anywhere from a week, and I don't want to use that as a real good barometer. I'd say a month to 6 months. It just really depends on the market. And what I always recommend for those who are either just starting out, haven't landed a client, maybe landed a client or two, or struggling to do that stuff. What I find a lot of people do is, I give an example, which I hate using an example like Houston, because then a lot of people try to rank for Houston personal injury lawyer. Don't do that. Find, like, if you're in the United States or want to do business in the United States, use like cities that are, you can really work with cities anywhere from 50,000 on up population wise. 50,000 is getting low, it just depends. But where I live, it's only about my city is about 12,000. Next to us is about 40. So there's probably about 55,000 between the two cities combined. But I'm able to work with a law firm here and charge 5,000 a month. So, that just tells you it's still a great value. So my point is, though, is most um, most SEO types are not trying to find lawyers in my community. So because they're thinking of New York, they're thinking Dallas, they're thinking of Miami, they're thinking Atlanta, all the big cities. Avoid the big cities. Work around the suburbs around the big cities, because then what you can do there is work with the prospects and hopefully convert them into clients, and then those clients work on the easier to rank suburbs. And then while you're doing those, you might also be working on harder keywords, might be the big city. It's going to take longer. That way you're able to demonstrate rankings without, all the tough keywords. You want to get the low hanging fruit. And the best way to do that is the lower populations, just because by nature, there's just going to be less competition. There's going to be less legal services, an example we're using. So there's going to be less competition. There's going to be less SEO professionals trying to provide those services to those businesses. They just don't see it. So I see it as a great opportunity where others just kind of ignore it. And so local's easy. That's the easiest, really. Is get to find populations. The smaller the population, but where you can still charge a nice amount, is a great place to be. So I'd say the minimum is about 50,000, but if you really want to start and get a little bit more, I'd say at least 100,000 on up to like 500,000, and even probably 100 to 250. You're going to find a lot of cities, and you always find those top 200 U.S. cities. Do something like that and just go from city 101 to 200. Use those as somewhere in between there to find some good places to offer your services. Don't go number one, New York or LA or whatever it is. Otherwise, you're going to run into not only stiff competition, it's going to take you longer to rank. And if you're just starting out, you don't want to start in those markets either. And even like me, I don't want to do those markets necessarily either now with my experiences. I just know I can do it, but it just takes longer. It's a lot easier to sell those where it's easier to do the rankings for and get great results quicker for them. Patricia asks, I understand Serpinatr for generating clients. What products training do we use for actual SEO? I have Maps Mentor 2.0. Is that all I need? For Patricia, yes, for ranking clients in Google Maps, Maps Mentor 2.0 is all you need. Paul covers A to Z, everything you need to know about SEO from ranking clients in the Maps area, which again is, let me run over here. Oops. Grab that one there. Maps area is going to be this area here. So you're going to want to look for those that aren't ranked in the top 3 to consider. And if you really want to, be safe, I said before, 4 through. You got to watch it. There's AdWords in here now sometimes too. We got one at the top here. So 1, 2, and 3. Those first 3 are going to be on page 1. 4 and below. If you want to, find those that are probably not ranked highly in any of the maps or organically, you might even want to start on page 2 here. But if you're just really looking to get started real quickly, start 4 on down. But you can see there's just a ton of prospects in there. But yeah, if you're offering just maps ranking, which is very important, not just on a desktop, but also mobile devices, especially because now in 2016 and beyond, I was reading an article that approximately 2/3 of all local searches are now done on a mobile device. So that means every time out of every 100 searches on Google right now, about 67 of those are actually being done on a mobile device. Why that's important is because maps show up first in the results. Now there might be an AdWord or two, but on a mobile device especially, it's very important because you get the click-to-call feature, you get all that stuff. And I see maps, to me, and I sell it as just as important, if not more important nowadays, for organic rankings. And so that's a great place to be offering services. And with what Paul teaches in there too, in Maps Mentor 2.0, you're also going to get spillover, and depending on the market, of course, you're at, but some of those smaller markets, just by nature of some of the things you're doing for ranking the 3-pack, the local citations and things like that, those also benefit ranking, for ranking and the organic results. More competitive niches and markets, it still helps, maybe not to the same degree, but when you're doing citations, you're also including the website of the business. Many occasions, the name, the address, and phone number. So all that ties in together. So there can be actually direct benefit with using Map Mentor 2.0 to also get clients ranked organically. But the main premise, the primary focus on Maps Mentor is for the SEO of ranking inside of Google Maps, the 3-pack. So let's see, get back to the questions. Oops. Sorry, darn thing keeps on moving on me. I'm going to try to go to the question box. So let me see if I can open it up a different. Okay, let me get to the question box here. Okay. Tim's asking about he'd prefer handling the sales and then having an SEO handle the SEO ranking delivery aspect. Again, Tim, I would go to the Source Marketplace for that, SourceWave Market. Just do a search for SourceWave Market, and you'll find it. And there's just a ton of SEO services there. If you still have questions, anybody has questions about that outsourcing stuff, you can send a question to our support at I think it's support at pauljames.com. It's inside of Serpinatr though, our support address, email address. You can ask that there, but like I said, SourceWave's where, and Source Marketplace is where you want to be. That's going to get you what you need. Anthony, upgrade number 2, that has to do with Serpinatr. That's separate from Maps Mentor. So that's a separate thing that you'll find inside the training area at the top of the training area in Serpinatr. That's training that is in addition to Maps Mentor. You may or may not want it, but it also helps you with ranking organically. That upgrade number 2, but it's definitely not necessary for anything. Let's see. Somebody's asking here. Let me just see if I can do this. I don't know. Clark asks, are the 20 and 25 percentages I use most commonly used, or would something more conservative be better to lower expectations? Depends on the market and the niche that you use. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you that. So yeah, for those percentages, you're probably going to want to be something more conservative. The first and foremost, what you want to try to use are percentages that your prospect or client provides you with. They may or may not know them, but you just want to assume if they don't know them to start guessing. What you want to do then is start asking probing questions to them, and just put it in different terms, different contexts. For example, for every 10 phone calls you receive, how many of those phone calls do you generally convert into a client? And they'll be able to tell you probably. They usually have a handle on those types of numbers. So sometimes it's just as rephrasing the question or what the information you're looking for, and then they'll be able to provide it to you. If all else fails, try to use conservative figures. What those are just going to depend on the market and the situation. So you just have to have some type of reality when it comes like attorneys, for example. I'm using 50,000. That's a pretty conservative figure for an average case file for a personal injury attorney. Now, if it's a workman's comp attorney, that's going to be something different. It's probably going to be like $5,000 or something. So it's just going to vary. You have to know the marketplace a little bit to do that. So, or if you don't know, yes, you want to be conservative to lower expectations. The thing to remember too, though, you're just talking about one keyword. If they have multiple keywords, you're going to have much higher, or could have higher percentages, or a higher return on investment, higher monthly profits, that kind of thing. So conservatives always wins out. If you just, at the end of the day, you just don't want to have outlandish figures. So Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at some questions here. Okay, Anthony mentioned, thank you, Anthony. Source Market's now called Conquer. Let me, think it's, let me type that here. Konker. I think it's conquer.com then. Y'all are going to want to check that out then for the outsourcing possibilities. So thank you, Anthony. Appreciate that. And I know a few people, Corey asked that about the outsource site. That's the link. If you still have questions about it afterward, as I said before, go ahead and let us know, but that should get you there. Let's see here. Antoine writes, I work at an agency, they don't know shiitake or shit. That's funny. Thank you, Antoine. I agree there. What's the URL? Okay, we answered that. Yes, Raymond. Oh, wait, he says, is there an offer that you're selling? No, I'm not selling an offer. I was going to remind everybody about Maps Mentor 2.0 that we talked about last week. And something else about that as well. In just a few minutes, I'll just make sure I go through these questions here. Okay. Let's see. It's being recorded, yes. Thank you, Kyle. Said excellent webinar. Great stuff today. Thank you, Antoine. Report highlights value. Patricia, the SourceWave, or really it's Conquer, Konker.com. They have outsourcing for just about anything, not just mobile. So, or not just general SEO, but also for the maps, for mobile, other things as well. So it's not just general. There are a ton of service providers. There are people like, perhaps like me. I don't offer my services there. I don't have time, but there's others that do a great job at SEO, but they don't like selling, to businesses or prospects or whatever, for whatever reason. So they sell their services to other marketers, and it's a great way to connect. And one thing I tell you to do too, if you find somebody there that you like and enjoy and doing good work, maybe you want to see if they, and I'm not saying they would, but there's no reason you couldn't ask them, hey, if they're interested in type of different arrangement, like a partnership or something, if it makes sense. So it's a way you can meet people too, or others that are like-minded, let's say. That's funny. Patricia wrote, as a retired legal secretary, after 20 years of putting up with attorneys' nonsense, I'm looking forward to making money from them. That's taking money from them, even better. That's funny. Thank you, Patricia. Okay, let's see. Thanks, Charles. He also mentioned Konker, Konker, for the outsourcing. Thank you, Patricia, for investing in those. Let's see here. I've had a couple questions asking about Serpinatr for the 3-pack versus organic rankings. With Serpinatr, it's just an estimation tool. So what we're looking at doing is putting together for the 3-pack as well, because quite candidly, the 3-pack, if you're ranking 1 through 3, there you're going to have similar results to the 1, 2, 3, the organic. So we're looking into potentially adding a third tool that talks about the 3-pack in a sense, or allowing for more customization of the PDF report, where you might be able to go in and change some of the wording to fit your particular need at that time. We're looking into that right now with the programmers, so stay tuned. We're also looking at some other upgrades, which is a good time to say now, if you have any ideas or suggestions regarding upgrades, we're always interested in getting your feedback and opinions. I can't say we can do all of them because it may or may not work. We've asked for other things we couldn't have done, but we're also looking at other things to grow Serpinatr. This isn't kind of a one and done thing. We really want to grow. We use it for our own businesses. We want to make it into something more. There are some things we're looking at doing. Can't really mention yet because they aren't definitive, but as soon as we have more concrete answers, certainly let you know. And one of them, I can tell you, it's top of the list, is regarding drawing it out specifically to include the 3-pack as its own estimation tool because, just to make it a little more clear for if you want to go to prospects or clients, but you can use it now because they, generally speaking, there aren't any, there aren't any studies out there to give us any better barometers to estimate the 3-pack versus organically ranking 1, 2, 3, which we're looking into further. So if we can dissect the numbers down for click-through rates, and that's what we're trying to do, and then we can really hone it down even more. But right now, it's what's great about it is you can change any number you want in there, and it changes the calculations. So just remember that it's just an estimation tool. And it really just allows you to start a dialogue and gets your prospects inspired, knowing that there's, what it means for your services. It was just so hard before to overcome that for a lot of people. I know a lot, especially starting out, hey, I can get you right. Well, what does that mean? Then a lot of marketers will start talking about, well, I get backlinks and I do this, I get citations. Then you lost a prospect, their eyes glaze over. You don't want to talk about this stuff. All they really want to know at the end of the day is how much money can they potentially make, and that's what this does. And so, like I said, we're giving you the area for a disclaimer, so you can have your disclaimer there. It says estimation. You're just estimating, with what's possible, what the potential is, versus nothing. Before you had nothing or kind of your real stab in the dark. This gives you a much better idea. And you can really tighten it up if they know their numbers, and you can really tighten it down. And so anyway, that's what we're going to do. We're looking for upgrades. So if you have any suggestions, just send it to our support email. It's inside Serpinatr, and like I said, we'll gladly look at it and want your feedback, and we'll see what we can do to add those things. Okay, and Charles says you can, and that's true. I forgot about that. There's a LTV, lifetime valuation guide. You can search on Google for a variety of niches. You can get an idea of client values, the average value of a client lifetime, or a customer, or a patient, depending on the niche. So just do a Google search for that if you're getting into different niches, and then you'll be able to get some of that information as you're using Serpinatr. And then Tim kind of goes, is there a place to find out legal marketplace average values for clients? Like I just said, you do a Google search for that. A lot of times what works well is, of course, after you have a prospect, is being able to ask them directly. Then you're going to be able to immediately have marketplace input, whether it's the right input. It's always going to be a question, because each prospect's going to be different too. So if you want to find out average values, what I put in for the legal marketplace, 50,000 for personal injury attorneys, if you're going for that market, and that's only one of many practice areas. 50,000 is a pretty conservative figure. Actually, it might sound like a lot, but it's not. These guys settle 6, 7, 8 figure cases sometimes. You see them on TV too, always hawking their services anyway. So it just depends, so you have to do a search for that, and we'll look into see if we can put together some type of guide too, maybe, some top niches that we can give you a little more definitive, or at least not even definitive, but give you an idea. And then it's going to vary on each market. At least gives you a starting point if you're totally clueless. But believe me, I don't say we're totally clueless going in, but if we penetrate a new market, any of us, we don't necessarily know either. We just think we go best on our best guesstimate. And then at that point, once you identify prospects who are interested in further dialogue, then you can get that intel directly from the market through your prospect, and then you're really able to fine tune it. And then once you have it for any market, you can really use it for a different market and just adjust accordingly, as my case might be. But you're going to have a much better figure than nothing at all at that point. Okay, Sean wrote it's. Well, I don't know if it's Conquer.io. So you might want to look at it's Conquer something. It's Alex Becker owns Conquer. I'll go over there right now. It says posted, just guessing. I think it's Conquer. Yeah, okay, yep, right here. Conquer.io is where you're going to find a freelance market, or whatever you're looking for. We can see here it's mostly SEO related, because Alex Becker, he's an SEO guy, or started out that way. So you got permanent PBM post links, drip fed, 5 stars, 160. So that's good service there. And I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just saying here's the weekly bestsellers. It says at the top here. I haven't been here since it changed over to Conquer. I knew he was changed. I didn't know he did it that quickly. So, but you got tons of services here, and you can search up here to find whatever you're looking for. And it has marketing, graphics and design, SEO, programming, and tech, audio, video. So you got about everything you need there as a online marketer, local marketer, to find services if you don't want to do them yourself. Of course, there's also Fiverr, but that's always buyer beware there. You're paying $5. Sometimes you're getting what you pay for. That can be great though for like doing citations and things like that. Again, whether it's Fiverr here, best thing to do is go on the ratings. Try to find those who have the best ratings. That's generally going to be a good barometer to look at. So let me get back over here, and let's see. Patricia wrote, I bought MapsMentor 2.0 and went through part of the training. Fantastic stuff. Well, thank you, Patricia. I'll let Paul know that. I definitely appreciate it. He had to attend to a client meeting, so he had to take off here a few minutes ago. Malik is wondering if it's the values of the keywords based on ranking in 3-pack or organic. Really, it's both right now. It's just not delineated on there, Malik, and to everybody. Like I said, Serpinatr has calculations going on in the background. A lot of stuff you wouldn't even care to know about. But I'm undergraduate. I was a finance major, so I spent a lot of times with, of all things, Excel spreadsheets. So that's how I created an Excel spreadsheet to show clients or prospects specifically, potentially what it could mean to rank on page 1 of Google or to rank in the 3-pack. And with the studies and what we use for click-through rates, because we already assume click-through rates for you through 1 through 10. Well, those click-through rates for 1 through 3 are the ones that are currently out there for the 3-pack as well. So we're trying to determine if there's a better percentages to use, and if so, then what we're going to do is create a third estimation tool, essentially, which would be for the 3-pack. Absent that, you have right now, the best thing to use is the SEO ROI evaluation estimation tool, because that does essentially come up with the same calculation that it would otherwise be. And just remember too, this is again an estimation tool. It's never going to provide you 100% accuracy because there's just too many variables out there. Percentages, your fee, and what it's really designed to do is just remember what Serpinatr is designed to do is really get your foot in the door, and it's going to differentiate you from every other SEO type out there, whether they're working with somebody or not, whether you land the client the next day or not. Because there'll be times you come up with a prospect who's with somebody else, even if they decide to stay with them, they're going to remember. You're going to stand out. You're going to be the one they remember because of you were telling them. And you better believe they're going to be looking at their numbers closer to see what's going on with their results, with their current person that they might feel an allegiance to. They might quickly lose that allegiance when they start not seeing any remote results or remotely similar to what you're showing them. So it's a very powerful tool that really can't be understated. It really calculates very quickly, which is nice. But there's a lot going on to arrive at those figures, and we're using the best information we have available to do that. So having said that, like I said, we're looking into potentially having a 3-pack tool separate, and like I said, stay tuned. If not, we're also looking at considering being able to allow you guys to kind of customize the PDF report where you can change some of the wording if you want to. So we're looking into both of those. One or both options. Let's see. John, are these training webinars going to be stored on the Serpinatr membership site? Yeah, we're going to have these in the training area shortly. I talked to Paul about that. We'll have these up in, well, this one we'll definitely have a replay out first, and then we'll have something up. What is today? Wednesday. We should have something up by Friday. These first two inside of Serpinatr. If not, like I said, we have already sent out the replay for the first one. least Paul and I sent out emails. You've probably seen them last several days. If not, I'm going to give you the link here in a few minutes to the first one if you want to watch that again. But they will be available, yes. Glenn, it's conquer.io. Sorry about that. He said the conquer.com is a Spanish site. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's conquer.io. Yes, Robert, I'll show you that link in just a minute. He's asking about the Maps Mentor replay. Norma asked the same question. So yes, yes, yes. Tim, we'll look into that. Yeah, I agree. He's asking about switching the date format to month, day, year versus the day, month, year. It's kind of European version. As you can see, our programmers are out of India, so that's the way they did it. But yeah, I actually noticed that too. Kind of got to rethink the train the brain a little bit there. Okay. All right, Malik. Yeah, like I said, yeah, we're looking to do that. Let's see here. Let's go through and make sure I've answered everything real quick. Yes, the replay is still available for number one. I'll show you that in just a minute, guys. Hang on. I'm just going through the David asks, what's a good site to get a SEO disclaimer? You really don't need something called SEO disclaimer. Just any disclaimer. I don't say any disclaimer will do, but it depends typically in jurisdiction. There might be different legal requirements to your disclaimer. The best thing to do if you want to find something down and dirty that will probably protect you is to find some other even other products you've invested in, ebooks, e-guides. A lot of times they'll talk about they'll have a disclaimer and find a lot of stuff that just disclaims everything, and you're typically going to be okay. But I don't like to just say use this, that, or the other thing specifically because, like I said, each jurisdiction can be a little bit different. So I don't want probably for 99 out of 100 people what I told would be accurate, but for that one person, I'd feel real bad if I told them something that just didn't work for them in that case. So, but you can probably find something just initially a lot. You'll find a lot from other if you just go look at some other e-guides or ebooks you might have invested in. Just look at those, or even free guides you find out there by doing a Google search. You'll typically have a disclaimer at the beginning and or end that you can at least use to get started with. It doesn't have to be tied in specifically to SEO, but with SEO or something, you want to make sure you do not guarantee any specific ranking, any specific results, any specific that they'll make money, they might lose money, those types of things. And we want to get more specificity. If you're really building a business, you really should have a local counsel, local attorney helping you with that. Yes, Charles, he says, if you use Bing search, you get more conservative number of searches rather than Google keywords. That's true because Bing has, you're looking at then you're ranking in Bing, which is about 20% of the market, where Google's, I don't know if Bing's 20%. Anyway, Google's about 70% of the market, search market. So it's about 7 out of every 10 searches is with Google. The other 30% is Bing and Yahoo and everybody else combined, predominantly Bing and Yahoo. So you definitely will get more conservative numbers. As I said before, you can also change the search numbers yourself because we're pulling those in from an API we use that uses Google's keyword planner, but uses the 12-month average, which is actually can be more conservative than certain months going out there, because otherwise we might grab a month that's significantly higher than the average if it's a cyclical in nature type of business. That's why we prefer the rolling average. Kind of can make it conservative, more conservative. Not always, but in many instances. Let's see here. Corey asked, are you talking to the potential customer so that you have the click-through rate and conversion data when you already have the contact information? Sure, you probably would. So you may or may not need it. Like I said, I think you're talking about with your reporting. You don't have to require um, for them to have to provide their email or their contact information with your reporting. You can not click on the check mark there. So it's entirely up to you. Let's see. All right, I think we good feature includes. Thank you, Pete, for some suggestions. We'll take those down. Consider those for sure. PowerPoint. We'll have PowerPoint available in the members area. Yeah, I can talk to the guys about adding PowerPoint. That's not a problem. And that, speaking of which, that was really it for the question. So just didn't want to have to leave because I know we talked about Maps Mentor 2.0 last week, and some of you guys invested in it. And just wanted to provide you some more news about it. That's great news. We had such a huge demand for it that we have opened up an additional 25 bonuses for the next 25 folks to claim them for Maps Mentor 2.0. You might be wondering what those bonuses are. I'm going to give you the URL to last week's replay so you can watch those and see what they are, because Paul talks about those in much more detail in that training, and then I can hear because we're kind of nearing the end here. So, but we do have 25 more. I'll summarize them real quick here in a second, but you can find those on last week's replay. But if you're already ready, you already know you want to invest in Maps Mentor. This is the same URLs we had before. It's mapsmentor.com/Serpinatr. And then, of course, that's when you watch the replay, that's where you're going to be directed to. That's the sales page for Serpinatr if you're already ready to invest. If you want to watch the replay from last week, which is our Serpinatr bonus training number 1, you can go to this link here, edigitalwave.com/ let me grab it for you too. MM2-replay. Sorry, it's not a great name. I was trying to figure out Maps Mentor. We've also sent a link to you guys in the email for that. So this is last week's replay. I know there's several people have asked for it, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the box for everybody. So that's last week's replay. And let me put it down here. Last week's replay. Okay, so there's last week's replay. And then let me just grab 2. Okay, and if you're ready to invest in Maps Mentor, like I said, there's 25, and I'll summarize those real quick. But Paul went in great detail on that replay, which isn't that long too. This is actually probably a little longer webinar because I went over the training aspects of Serpinatr and spent most of the time there. If you're ready to invest in Maps Mentor 2.0, it's that one right there, mapsmentor.com/Serpinatr. And then, let's see here. Really quick, before I show you the bonuses from Maps Mentor 2.0, just next week we'll have the 3rd installment of our bonus training next Wednesday, a week from today at 2 p.m. Eastern. There will be a replay as well for that too. And Joe Troyer will be presenting there, so you get a chance to hear from each one of us. And then let me see here. I think I've got Maps Mentor 2. Okay, let's see. I think this is Paul's presentation from last week. So let me go down and get to those bonuses. So let's see. Okay, here we go. So we got bonus. Okay, here's the bonuses that are Maps Mentor in case you're ready to make a decision, just want to know. Like I said, we added 25 of these. Now, if you're we had 25 available from last week. We ran out of those. What we decided to do for those who invested afterward, we knew we were going to give you an offer for 25 more here. So if you're in between, you're wondering, yes, you did qualify too, because we had a few people that fell in that camp as well. So nobody's been left out in between or fallen between the cracks. But just real quick, bonus number one, and these are Paul's. Like I said, he goes in much more greater detail, so I don't want to spend a lot of time here. I know I've spent almost spent 2 hours here today. Bonus number one is Google My Business WordPress theme that Paul has. It ties in directly to Maps, Google Maps listings, and like I say, he talks more about it in detail. But again, if you're ready to invest in Maps Mentor anytime, it's mapsmentor.com/Serpinator. Bonus number two, he's got I think it's three different done-for-you client getting funnels, all regarding ranking in the 3-pack. And so it talks about your risk of having your listing removed, which is to have your business to lose their Google My Business page because they haven't claimed it. He's got three different items, and I mean that's a great bonus to have, because creating funnels like that takes a lot of time. And if you're like me, I don't like spending my time. I lose a lot of patience. I'm not highly technically advanced in those regards. I'd rather either pay somebody to do it or find alternative ways, such as bonuses like this. And so this is just a bigger image of that bonus that he has. You can see kind of a two-step thing here that he's providing you with. And so you can see kind of really it's the whole funnel that he's showing you what you got here. So it's pretty detailed in what he's going into for you, and how they can claim their listing and directly pay you in order for you to verify their Google My Business page, which takes about 2 minutes. Paul shows you how to do all that inside of Maps Mentor 2.0. Bonus number three, there's a huge forum inside of Maps Mentor 2.0. It's a mastermind community, so you can ask questions, provide answers. Most important value I see out of these is getting to know other like-minded individuals such as yourself. That's how I get to know Paul, not in this specific community, but through Wire Plus, or excuse me, Wire Forum, and Joe. I get to know guys and gals alike over the last 5 years, primarily from forums and different masterminds or some Facebook groups like that. And that's how I ended up. I didn't know these guys before I started this business, and I was most likely in your position at one point. I know I was listening to webinars and having no clue what I was doing, or struggling, having a clue what I was doing, and still struggling. And so I can just tell you from my own personal experience, one of the ways I was able to grow my business quickly was through, at the time it was Word Form, because a lot of people are using that, and that's how I got started creating products and doing different things, and really got going quickly. Once I found that, before it, I was just spinning my wheels a lot. So what's great about this is you've got those who are obviously interested in SEO, Google Maps, and that's where you can also find people who have asked about, hey, I'm great at SEO, I don't like to sell, or I like to sell, but I don't want to, either I'm not great at SEO or I don't want to spend the time. You can find people to potentially partner with in here. I can't guarantee it, but I can guarantee you there's more than one person on this call right now who's probably interested in forging a potential partnership, and you guys might and gals might be able to find each other inside here. So that's what's great about those communities that can usually kind of glossed over, but I think that's the most important feature by far that's usually not even talked about as a feature or a benefit. So of course there's a guarantee that 12 talks about regarding Maps Mentor 2.0. So I don't want to spend time talking about all that. It's on the video replay from last week's training. Of course, this week's training was pretty much as it was about Serpinator, but I just want to mention that we do still have Maps Mentor 2.0 available. We've also opened up 25 more bonuses for you guys that are interested. And of course, the price is it's $297, which is amazing. Low investment, just one time. There's no upsells, no anything else. It's just one time fee, and that's it. And if you have any questions regarding either Maps Mentor 2.0 or Serpinator, you can go to Paul's support, paul@pauljames.com. He's handling support. And if there's any questions he can answer, he gets them to myself or Joe, primarily me, because I was the one who came up with the concept and the software for Serpinator and all that good stuff. So he directs them wherever they need to go if he can answer them himself. So that's those are the bonuses. And with that, I just want to pop over here real quick. So let's see, I've covered everything. I think we've got last week's replay in the chat box that you can watch if you want to learn more. Paul, not just about Map Center, but Paul also has some great training inside there. First 45 minutes, great training. There's no you don't have to buy or invest in Map Center. It's just a great opportunity. I invested in it a year or so ago. It's a great training program. And then also provide you the link to it if you want to get into it. There will be a replay for today's training as well. We'll get it out to you as soon as the video replay, the recording has rendered. It just varies in time. I can tell you, when I do it, I try to get it up as soon as I can. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but as soon as we can get it up and out to you, we will. And just let me grab the questions box one last time here. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Thomas. Okay. Yep, the links are in the chat there. Malik asked, what's webinar number 3 going to cover? Stay tuned. I'm not sure what Joe's going to talk about, so I can tell you Joe provides great value. It won't be about Serpinatr, the tool itself. That's what I was covering, but it'll be great training, whatever it might be. So, like I said, stay tuned. I recommend being there. You don't have to invest in anything, just your time. Next week, and yes, there will be a recording. Anything we do, there's always a recording, provided that GoToWebinar doesn't peter out on us, which seems to be doing a little bit better these days, but I still knock on wood each time it comes out. Let's see. So it won't matter if we're sending clients via SEO or video as long as they're good leads. Nope. Yeah, Tim, whatever the leads are, got good leads, got hot leads. Leads are leads, so that's awesome. Glenn asked about the replay link. Yep, those links are in the chat box. So I put them in there one more time, and then we're going to call it a wrap here. And so here's for last week's replay. You can see there, and then also for if you're ready to invest, you can just cut to the head of the line. I know there's a buy button that drops down at some point while you watch the Maps Mentor last week's webinar. I just don't remember at what point it does. So if you're all ready, you don't want to wait, you can just go to mapsmentor.com/Serpinatr. So, okay, with that, guys, I think that I answered all the questions in the question box. And with that, I want to thank you again for investing in Serpinatr. And then just lastly, let me get over here. Of course, as I said before, any questions, paul@pauljames.com regarding Serpinatr. And let me get out of here and let's see. Of course, thank you again for investing. I already said that. So like I said, if you're ready to invest in Maps Mentor 2.0, it's already in the chat box, mapsmentor.com/Serpinatr. And then there's also the replay link. If you want to watch the replay, check in the chat box, and the replay link is this here. And you also can look for our emails as well, either for myself and Paul. We sent out emails that contained the replay as well. So you can always check for that too if you don't want to grab a link here. So, and we'll probably send it out again just so you have with this replay as well. So, all right, I think we got it all covered. My throat's nice and dry now. It's been a little over 2 hours. I want to thank you for investing your time today as well as investing in Serpinatr. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye now.